Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah. Pearls of Wisdom in Food with Keto and Carnivore-ish. Carnivish, as one of the pickles called it. I love Carnivish. That works for me. Anyway, yes, I am going through a little bit of a metamorphosis transformation with the items I'm choosing. Definitely low, 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 low carb. And it's exciting and it's fun. But I have a conversation for today. And as a consumer of Keto and Carnivish over the years, I haven't had this revisit me, but I certainly had it before I began Keto and Carnivish. I was a binger and I had serious, serious cravings, not once in a while, all the time. And I think that the worst that I ever was probably, 30 years of it. No, there was a lot of it. But the most that I remember seriously with the cravings was during my Weight Watcher phase. I craved everything and I was eating everything. And it was tracked and I did points and all that kind of stuff. And I lost 17 my entire journey with Weight Watchers, and there it went. That was it. Splat against the concrete wall, not one more ounce to be lost. And yet I was craving 24/7, and I was having all the items that you give up when you go keto, and definitely when you go carnivore. And so, isn't that interesting? It does certainly help to add to that theory that having the sugars, the grains, the carbohydrates into your body keeps that brain, keeps that pilot light going. And what happens with that? Well, it wants to be fed all the time. And so sometimes I watch some Weight Watcher videos and just to see how that plays out, because I know that I'm not alone in how I was when I was on Weight Watchers. And I know that all the cravings and binges at the end, how they happened with being allowed to have carbohydrates that weren't just veggies, but the fruits and all of the grains and the sugars, even the artificial sugars, in my food plan every single day. And that was not a healthy place to be, especially for the head. When you think of your head, if you're craving still and you're keto or carnivore, then I say that you need more fats. I say that you probably need, although we don't talk about calories, you probably need about 100 more calories into your plan. I think that most women can lose and still be successful on 1,300, 1,400 max calories per day. And so that's what I always suggest. I see some do 1,000, I see some do 1,200 that I have as clients. And it works for them, I guess, although I know that a couple of them are still hungry. They go to bed still hungry. They fight it. And others are okay with lower calories and just about zero carbs from anything except maybe some supplements or something that they're having in their day. But it's definitely not, it's not like Weight Watchers with the carbs, the sugars, the grains that are allowed. And so I craved. Once I started keto, of course I was the annoying, structured, and disciplined one right out of the gate. And it worked for me. And I loved it. And the cravings did go away. The sugar one went away so quickly that I was surprised. I wasn't expecting it. And of course, I was in denial about how strong a sugar addict I was. I would get it hidden in foods. And it was just, I wasn't craving like Keto Mad when he talks about his love affair with Coca-Cola. I wasn't craving like a Coca-Cola. but I did like the end of the dinner time dessert type category of things. And I think that was my downfall. And my slices of things at the end of the day became hunks, became halves of, became wholes of, if you're following me. But what happens if you are strict and you are very, very, very keto with carbs so low that you're probably in the same camp as I am, that Carnivish? My carbs are under 5 total. As I said before in another video, that like next week I have some carb days that are like 1.1. Definitely low carbs. And I guess that's pretty carnivore. And because I was listening to a doctor, Dr. Justin Anthony, I think Justin Anthony, and he was saying that he's 90% keto, 10% carnivore. And he's got very, very, very low carbs too. He didn't really lay out what he was eating. But I think that the carnivore community, from what I'm grasping, is very, very, very gentle and has some borders of what they consider carnivore that are kind of like wavy, like this, what they allow and what they don't. Of course, there are some that are just meat and water and salt, and that ends that item list. But for others, they still include a few things. So that's why I like to think of myself as carnivish, because, I'm still having my coffees with fats in them. I still have a very, very, very small spring mix, baby spring mix salad, where the carbs are 1 for 30 grams. And that's working for me. Although last night I didn't finish it, and I tossed some of the lettuces away. But anyway, back to the binging and craving. Once you are carnivore and keto, I recognize some people with cravings see it, want it, / have it, and that kicks off things. If you're like me and a bunch of other people, not having breakfast is always one of the key things. I have my coffees. Other people have teas. Other people have waters. But yes, I find that a lot of people, my experience for me is once I take that first bite, be it 7 o'clock in the morning or 1 in the afternoon or 3 in the afternoon, I'm ready to eat. The timetable just slips away. The OMAD idea would slip away, and I'm kind of a goner. I'm very, very, very sensitive to visual and smells. So if I was to be around something that's even, keto allowed, carnivore allowed, and smelled it, saw it, it would whet my appetite. And it's funny because right now I'm cooking party wings, beef short ribs, and prepping for the keto pizza. And last night I made the spare ribs. And so I had all these visuals, not during a food eating time, not during my OMAD. And gosh, they look good. But, I know I'm not having them. I've got on my bathrobe, so that means it's not an eating time. I have on loungies when it's OMAD time later in the day, like 9 hours from now. But anyway, I digress. What else is new? So how do you protect yourself if something that is on your keto or carnivore allowed list, how do you protect yourself when your eyes and your nose start, and I touch my ears, right? When your eyes and your nose smell something that is allowed? Do you partake, or do you say, I will have something like that later? I will build it into my food plan. If you're tracking, you add it to your tracker before you eat it. That's always the key for me in being okay, being safe from food, is it's tracked before I eat it. That's why I always suggest to my clients, the tracking, the putting your bones into what you're having for the week happens long before the first bite of that day, okay? It's just one of those things, one of those tricks, tips, whatever. But I know that if I saw and smelled something that would be triggering for me, would set up a kind of a craving, I don't want to binge. And so I know that whatever that is over there right now that I'm smelling and seeing, I'm going to have that for my OMAD. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. So when these short ribs come out of the oven and they're looking like I must, well, then the next meal that I have, my next OMAD, will have the short ribs in it. Do you understand that whole concept? It's like I'm not having the binge on the short ribs because I see and smell them right now. I am going to postpone. And so once I postpone, then I can anticipate. I don't have expectations, but I can anticipate that what I just saw and smelled will be taken care of in a few hours or maybe tomorrow's meal. But I know that I'm having it. So I can calm the craving, calm the addiction, calm the triggering, and not binge on them right then and there, but step back because I know I went into my chronometer and I put short ribs for the next meal. I X'd out the meat protein that I was having for that particular meal. Say it was a pork chop. Well, no, it's going to be the short ribs now because that's what I saw and smelled and thought, mighty darn tasty if I have it. So there's just that's my idea on how I would handle the urge to binge and destroy everything that I've done, undo everything that I've done, trample over my progress and success. I would take that item that looked so good right then and there that I'm smelling, and every time I walk into that room, I can smell it because I'm baking it right now. I will put it on to my next OMAD, and I know it's there. I can have it. So I can wait. I don't mind anticipation. And the expectation is it's going to definitely going to satisfy it, but I don't have to deal with expectations on my Keto Carnivish way of eating because I know that everything that I'm planning is savory. And so if I'm taking out spare ribs and adding in short ribs, wow, it's pretty good. Who wouldn't want either, right? Fresh out of the oven, little brown crispies on them, delish, okay? And it satisfies. And so it also satisfies my head. It calms it, it quells it, knowing that in just a matter of hours or a day, I will have that item. But that's how I have to mentally challenge my way out of a binge. I have to know that what seems like I have to have. Now, there's other binges where it's just fill me up, I don't care what it is. No items come to mind, just that fact that I'm emotionally eating, I'm emotionally distressing, and I open up the fridge and I just devour what I see. That's a different type of binge. That's a real, it's a real frightening place to be. I don't know if at that moment you can stop and say, what in here really is calling to me? You know, sometimes it could be that you're not getting enough fats. Sometimes it could be that you're not getting enough protein. So have, you know, scrambled eggs with cheese. The deal is, and don't fool yourself, notice that the word hunger never came into this. Because if you're a food addict, what TF does hunger have to do with anything? It has nothing to do with it, right? If you want something, it's because your head wants something, because you're an addict, because you're smelling it, because you're seeing it, because other people are eating it in front of you. And so you have to be very, very careful of the visuals. You know, you have to step away. There's only one person that can handle your addiction, and that's you. There's only one person that can handle my addiction, and that's me. And so it's developing my toolkit that you often hear me talk about, where I've got plans in place to help me out of it. And like I said, one of the biggest ones is, okay, I really liked what that person was having. It's keto allowed, it's carnivish allowed. I'm going to have it. And I'm going to have it on Tuesday, where there's a blank on what the protein is. And it's not bad because today is Sunday. So I can make that. I got 2 days to make it, have it in the oven, and it's tracked on my chronometer. I'll have it. And then that's like, okay, problem solved. Satiated from the trigger and the craving, and there was no binge involved. But getting your tools in place for when a binge wants to hit you. I talk about bookending. Bookending as another tool. That's like somebody texts me and says, Sarah, I so don't want to binge when I go home after work today. How can I handle it? How can I handle it? And I tell that person, text me that you're not going to do it. Go home, experience the not doing it, and text me at the end, like 2 seconds before you go to bed, and say, it worked. I didn't have to do that because I knew that I was going to be accountable to more than just me, right? And I see that oftentimes on Facebook where people fall off the rails and they binge, and it's very, very hard, and they get into real dangerous neighborhoods. It's like, what tips, tools, and tricks do you have in place to save you, to keep you safe? It's going to have to happen. If you're a card-carrying food addict, this is how it rolls for us. We're never out of the woods completely. We always have to have constant vigilance over our food, our surroundings, and safe places. And when we get to places that aren't safe, we have to learn how to remove ourselves politely and just get away. That's how it goes. Now, for me, of course, it's planning that food that I saw within a couple of days, so I can anticipate the deliciousness of it, and that will stall the binge, and eventually the binge will dissolve because it was that item. If it's anything that's the problem, then you really need to have other tips, tools, and tricks in place, and I can help you with those, but I can tell you what I do, but if you're just binging for the sake of opening up your mouth and filling your belly, then it's really a very special condition that needs work and vigilance. Okay? Well, this has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto. I got a timer going in the kitchen for the wings, and I know it's going to go off any second. Plus, I'm at that past the cup of coffee stage. So thank you so much for watching. It's just so great to have you in my little world, and we do this together. Thank you so much. I will see you the next time. KetoCoachingSarah.com if you're in trouble. KetoCoachingSarah.com, where we use emails, phones, and the chronometer. And I get to see what you're having. I will see you the next time. Bye-bye for now. Thank you.